Newtown in Johannesburg. As part of an oversight visit, it comes in light of the simmering xenophobic incidents in the country. We've recently seen Steenhuisen blaming the ANC-led government for the recent violence in Diepsloot, north of Johannesburg. Steenhuisen said the violence was the result of dwindling resources, which government must take responsibility for. For more on this, let's now bring in our colleague, YOLISA NJAMELA. YOLISA, what's happening where you are?
Well, it's a very good morning to you too, Desiree. In fact, the DA leader, John Steenhuisen, is already here. He got here a few minutes ago. He's currently interacting with the people who are standing outside in queues to go into the Home Affairs offices. He says he's here to do an oversight inspection. He's accompanied by other DA leaders, including, you'll notice that I've gone off camera quickly because we want to catch him before he goes into the offices. He says he's here to ensure that he wants to understand what's happening inside. There's been reports, obviously, that have been widely reported that corruption as one of the major contributors of the crisis that we're currently facing in terms of illegal immigration. And I want to ask John, in fact, before I ask John Steenhuisen what he's hoping to get out of this visit, we also spoke to a number of people here who attest to what John Steenhuisen and the DA is saying, that there's a lot of corruption here. They have to pay, for instance, to even stand in lines before they go in, and they're constantly told that the system is offline and all other related issues. John, thank you so much for joining us. First, let's ask you, what are you hoping? I mean, an oversight visit is one of the cornerstones of our democracy, to ensure that there's delivery, policies are implemented. But what are you hoping to get out of this visit?
I hope to get a better understanding about the inhumane treatment that's being issued to South African citizens, but also to immigrants who are trying to process their papers, etc. We're not going to solve the xenophobic crisis in South Africa unless we have an efficient, effective Home Affairs system. These systems are broken. They are not serving residents or immigrants who are trying to just get legal documentation and like. And I think that we're making the wrong people the scapegoats. The problems actually exist here at Home Affairs and with the Home Affairs Department. And you can see the dysfunctionality here today. I'm very glad the DA gets things done. We've got 2 trucks here today that they've sent in because they knew we were coming. But chatting to people, the queue usually goes right down the corridor, down the side end, no shelter. People have to pay queue walkers up to 100 Rand just to secure a place in the queue. You wait from 4 in the morning, then you get told the system's offline. I'm told the system's offline now, and it obviously means that people can't process their simple documentation. People here aren't looking for complex things. It's identity documents, it's passports, it's things that any capable state should be providing as a matter of course. If we can't even provide these services to our citizens, it's no wonder we're now sitting with a huge problem of undocumented migration in South Africa, because even people who want to get the correct documentation are facing this monumental wall here of corruption, maladministration, and complete inhumane treatment of people. And that's the thing that's made me the most sad, is talking to people today who say no one comes and tells them what's happening. They get treated like animals. So one lady said to me, they get treated like animals. They get told to go away. They're pushed around by the officials here. And obviously it's not good enough. So I want to find out from inside, what are the delays? Why are we sitting with queues? And what on earth needs to be done from their side to be able to improve the situation? Because we can't continue like this.
I mean, as we rightly agree that corruption is one of the major contributors to the crisis that we're facing now. But also, last month, for instance, at the Human Rights Day celebrations or commemoration in the Northwest, President Cyril Ramaphosa called out business people, the business community, that they also contribute to this issue, because then they employ undocumented migrants and pay them very low wages, and that causes frictions within communities. Are you going to deal with the business community?
Well, we already deal with that in our newly released policy that we released last month and adopted as a party. It's very difficult for business owners to be able to determine who is a legal immigrant and who's not a legal immigrant without some form of e-system. So we've suggested an e-system that would allow any employer to type in a ID document or passport number to be able to determine whether that person is legally able to work or not. You can't expect the business community to do the work of Home Affairs, and without that database of who is a legal immigrant and who's not a legal immigrant, you're not going to be able to resolve the problem. So I think the president is putting the fault on the wrong foot. He should be sorting out his Home Affairs department and saying to business, there's a database for you to use. If someone comes in looking for a job with you, you just type in the ID number or the passport number, you can immediately see whether that person is allowed to work in South Africa or not. But you don't even know here who is actually, illegal or not. And I think that is the problem. And people trying to become legal are facing this wall of bureaucracy and corruption.
And just one last thing, John, before we let you go, and if you could do this for me briefly. You speak of amnesty, that government perhaps should allow them to reapply while in the country, or allow them to go home and try to reapply and come back. Elaborate that for us.
Well, I think we've got to understand there's humanity involved here as well. How do you send a widow and children back to a war zone and expect them to apply from there, to put their lives in danger again? I don't think any politician in this country, including in government, would put their own family at the type of risk they're expecting other people to place their wives, their children and their families. So particularly those areas that are war-torn, where people are genuine refugees from, they should be able to be given some form of ability to apply from here. Why would you take your own life into your hands to go back to a place you've spent your time getting away from and running away from because people were being massacred and murdered and maimed and tortured and raped? Why would you put your family in that position? Surely if we want to incentivize legal immigration, you've got to make the systems credible, you've got to make them easy to comply with, and you've got to make sure that people are able to do these processes. That's how you incentivize legal immigration.
John Steenhuisen is the leader of the Democratic Alliance. Let's let you go for now so that we can have quite a chat with Solim Simanga, who is the DA leader here in Gauteng province. Solim was fuming, Desiree, earlier on when he got here because he found 2 trucks that are dealing with the issue of undocumented migrants that are now manning the issue of the queues of the people who are here to apply for their papers, to apply for asylum-seeking papers, IDs, passports, etc. And he tells us that his office is literally down the road, and it's the first time that he saw this. So tell us more about this. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you very much for having us. I mean, my office is literally a block from here. If you know where the legislature office is, you would know they're literally a street away from where we are. I drive past this street every single day. This is the first time that there is never a queue here. This is the first time that you see these trucks that are parked here outside trying to alleviate, the problem. Why? Is it because we are coming? The problem that we have in South Africa is not an issue of systems. It's an issue of laziness. It's an issue of the misdirection of resources. Why can't these trucks be here on every single day to assist the people? Why does it have to be that when we are here and then the officials and the directors know that they're going to be embarrassed that these trucks are going to be sent here? I mean, we're talking to a lady who is ready to give birth, standing in the sun, standing in the queue, and she's been here since 4 o'clock in the morning. Why does it have to take us coming here, for her to get assistance? Why does it have to be that way? We cannot live in a country where people will only do their job because there's somebody else sitting in the background or watching them. People have to do their jobs each and every single day, and they need to take pride in that. This is why we have a country that is falling apart, because people are not doing their jobs. They're waiting for somebody to come and push them or come and pay them a bribe. That is something that we cannot continue to have.
Solim Simanga is the DA leader here in Gauteng province. Thank you so much. And for the public broadcaster, we'll ask that you do an oversight on a daily basis for us so that, we can't be everywhere, ears and eyes. We'd appreciate that. Thank you so much for joining us. We're now going to speak, Desiree, just to one last person, because we'd like our viewers to understand the frustration that people who stand in these queues go through. Utelisile is a lady we spoke to who came through to apply for an ID, and she's flashing her documents because she says today is miraculous.
That I got them, and I'm happy that you guys are here. I don't think if All these people were here, we're going to get our documentation. And I'm asking the government, since they have the power, at least they may get some kind of watchdog or supervision or what. There's no supervision here. These people, they do whatever they want, whenever they want.
What kind of service or frustrations did you have here, if you can say that to me short, just in short?
It's the queues, the offline, and the cutting of the line. That's what we have. These people, they need proper supervision.
And you were saying earlier that they demand money from you?
It's not the people inside who are demanding the money, but there are people who are holding the queues for us to get inside. Yes.
Thank you so much, my sister, and glad you managed to get all your documents in time. Well, there you have it. We're going to bring you this story as it unfolds. John Steenhuisen and his team are going to go inside and have a conversation with officials inside here. Desiree, back to the studio.
Thank you so much, YOLISA, for bringing us an update on that very important story. A multi-government department